Bilam also expressed himself. He said, if you reward me very handsomely, even if you reward me handsomely, he says, I won't do it. And there the Chazal say in Ashur Chova, he's a man that money meant an awful lot to him. Here the Chazal don't say anything about the Fishbain Kisma, that he was a man that money meant a lot to him. He also spoke about money, that he doesn't want money. The difference was that they told from Rabbi Yisrael Barditchever that what's the difference? He invited a Maggid to come to his town to make an appeal to speak. So he spoke about how what his needs are. They're so urgent and so desperate, and he needs it so desperately, and what he's going to do with it. So he must have it. It's how important it is, how prominent it is in his life that he must have money and what he's going to do with it. So when he finished his appeal, he was very disillusioned and very dissatisfied by the results. So he approached the late Radisha. He says, what sort of a chinuch, what kind of influence do you have on your Balabats in your community that they don't respond when I presented my plight to them, and they said, don't they have a heart? He said, I don't know what to tell you. My experience has always been that whenever I approached them, they always responded generously. They responded. But I said, I'll tell you what the difference is. I see, when I speak about money, so I tell them that money is the root of all evil. Money is something you shouldn't pursue. There's things that are much more important than money. Forget about it. Put that way in the background. So, and then when it comes and necessary to make an appeal or something, so yeah, and and he said, I don't want it, I don't need it. So the speaker influences them by the content of his speech. So, especially if it's well presented. So I came across how money is something you should pursue, stay away from it, and don't look to gather riches. So they're influenced by it. So if you don't want it, so we don't want it either, so they give it away to me. But you spoke about how important it is in your life, what money means, and you influenced them also. So they decided it's so important. It's something who wants to part with it. Here, Yosef ben Kisma, he didn't bring the subject of money up. He just said the one who